5 pillars of reading, the 5 really important things that every child needs to be able to do to become a good reader. The first one is phonemic awareness. That's being able to hear the individual sounds within a word. If you can't hear the sound s or b or k, then it's really impossible for you to be able to read, because you won't be able to say the sound of k and a and t and be able to put those then together to be able to make sounds. In the early stages of development, children can hear words, but they can't break those words down into small steps, and that needs to be taught. And that's something that hasn't always been very well taught, and in some places still isn't very well taught, but it's an absolutely critical component. And for children with dyslexia and other learning difficulties, this one is really critical in helping them get off the road and get reading. The next one is phonics. When I was at school, we weren't taught phonics. We were just taught, look at the word, read it. But the research is telling us we need to teach the children that when you see sh, you go sh, and you see ir, and you go and you see t, and you say t, and you put it together, and you get shirt. We actually need to teach those. We need to teach them systematically and explicitly. We mustn't leave it to osmosis for children to work those out. We actually need to teach them really explicitly and in the early years of school. For example, you're going to meet words in those first few readers that you take home that are going to have all sorts of different combinations of vowels and consonants to make those graphemes. So it's really important that children are taught those, that they're not taught to guess, that they're actually taught how to break up the words. What is the code? They're taught how to crack the code. Reading is only cracking the code. It's quite a complicated code, but it is just a code to be cracked, with a few exceptions. Next one is vocabulary development. This is something that's been a concern over the past few years as children are coming into school from different backgrounds, that children just generally don't have the vocabulary they used to have. And that's for many, many different reasons. So having the vocabulary is really important. If you're trying to work out an unknown word, if you have that word in your vocabulary, you'll be much more likely to be able to read that word once you've broken it up and gone through the steps of sounding out and putting it together using your phonics. Reading fluency is important. If you're reading incredibly slowly, it's really hard to have any attention left for being able to work out what you're reading. So if you're reading words and you have to sound out every word and you have to labour over every word, it becomes really hard then to, what did I just read? It took me 5 minutes to read that sentence. I broke it down every step, but I've got no idea now what I've read. And at the end of the day, reading is actually about making sense of what it says. It's not about being able to decode every single word. The reading is about understanding and learning from it. And the last one is reading comprehension strategies. So it's important that when you're reading, can you identify the main idea? What is this actually about? What's important? What are the little details? What was the sequence of things that happened? Can you visualise that in your head? There are many, many different comprehension strategies, and it's something I'll go into in another video because it's quite a big area of discussion. But it's really important that we do teach children how to pull the information out of the text, and not just what's directly there. You know, Johnny was 9 years old. How old was Johnny? 9. What was his name? Johnny. But also in able to understand things like Grandma went to the window and then went to fetch her umbrella. And the question could be, was it raining? So, or why did Grandma go and get her umbrella? It's not actually there, but you have to use your background knowledge to help you understand that. So that's another area, and I'll do that in a separate video later. But they're the key ones, and it's really important that children are exposed to all of these in good teaching for them to be able to become good readers.